to the Knitting by the Sea podcast. My name is Lisa. I'm Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry, and I welcome you to my home. I live in beautiful Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is a oceanside or seaside town on the North Shore of Massachusetts, so just north of Boston. And today it is a rainy and foggy and cloudy day, but it's a little bit warmer, so that's nice because it is spring. Finally, it is spring. You don't know it here, but I am full on with the allergy season. Yeah, tree pollen is what mostly gets to me, but the key for me is to take Claritin every day. It's a beautiful world when I take that Claritin, but I'm hoping that the trees are really popping here right now, so things are all of a sudden starting to get really green, especially with the rain today and just having it be a little bit warmer. A lot of the early flowering trees have flowered already, and now the actual leaves are coming out, so it looks really nice, and I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward to the summertime. Today we'll do a few things. We'll do some finished objects, or one finished object. I'm going to show you. I might have shown you the last time, but I'm going to show you again. And I have some whips to do, including a little bit of spinning that I've been trying to do this week. And I'm going to talk about the Knit Local Getaway that I went on. We also have a winner for our sock knit along today. And then I was going to talk a little bit about a couple of little tricks and kind of interesting things on Ravelry that maybe you know about them, but maybe you hadn't, and I kind of refound them this week, and I think they're kind of cool. And then we'll just do some chatter. So let's get started. Objects, or object. And again, I can't remember if I did it last time. I probably should go and check that, but that's okay. They're lovely anyway. I finished the Incantation Socks by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, and I love them. This is out of West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, and it is a self-patterning yarn as they are. I did use a palette. That's for you, Jacqueline, so you can have a drink now. Let's count how many times I say palette during the episode. So I use the toes and the heels and the cuffs out of palette because I have a lot of leftover palette yarn. And then the West Yorkshire Spinners self-patterning yarn for this. And as always, I just do the plain pattern, of course, on the bottom of the foot. And then this one I used the Kay's lovely pattern, her pattern. And what I thought I would do on these socks, because I really think this yarn is so cool, I just did the patterning on the front of the sock, so on the top of the foot, and then on the front of the leg part. And on the back of the leg part, I just did stockinette, so you can actually really see how that pattern works out. And this is not really something that anybody's really going to see. I just know that I really just liked looking at the self-patterning yarn as it did it, and I really enjoyed doing the pattern as well. So I thought I would change it up a little bit. But these, I have two of them. I do have a pair, and they're really just warm and comfy, and they'll go in my sock drawer. So I'm all excited about these. And that's really all I have finished. I've been working a lot, so we'll talk about some works in progress next. In progress. I have quite a few of them. How many works in progress do you have? It's springtime. I have a lot, but that's okay. It's lots of fun. Each has its different time and place to knit on. The first one I'll show you is the one I mentioned a couple of weeks ago when I talked about my couture, what I thought about couture knitting. Anyway, this is the Lomond pattern. It is by Meg Gadsby, and it is it's just gorgeous. It's going to be, I'm in the middle of a row. How wonderful is that? This is going to be a very long wrap. The colors are a little more muted than this. I think it's Dragonfly Fiber Arts yarn. It's really gorgeous. This is in their Ravelry, special Ravelry colorway, but it has little pieces of lace in here, which are just lovely, and lots of just knitting, and purling back. So it's really easy. It's nice. It's really nice knitting. I could do this knitting on the bus. I have a long commute. I probably have about an hour and a half commute in the morning because I work in Boston. So I have a lot of knitting time. This, however, it's lace weight yarn. I haven't knit a lot of lace weight yarn in the past, so I like to kind of take this slow, which is why for me, this is more couture knitting. I take it slow. It's going to be a long-term project. It's just gorgeous. It's not difficult, really not taxing on the brain at all, but it's just lovely to feel the yarn. And the only reason I'm doing it at home is really with the lace weight. I just have to be careful that I don't drop any stitches. So I'm just a little bit concerned about doing that during a commute. But otherwise, I have been working on this, and I just love this. As I said, this is going to be a very long wrap. I have a ton of yarn, so this is a long-term project. But it's just beautiful. It's a really nice project, I think, if you want to start learning lace. There's really not a lot of lace in it, but it has some interesting lace. And I'm really happy with this. So this is my special couture knitting, as I think of it in my head. The second project that I have actually gotten quite a bit done on, reach over here, and this is the, no, maybe I don't have it. It's the Granito sweater pattern by Joji Locatelli. And this pattern was gifted to me, and I am loving it. And once again, palette yarn, palette. I have a lot of palette in my stash, but it's really a great yarn. So this is a really interesting pattern. Which way is the front? So this is the front here. I love this really beautiful deep green kind of heathered color, and it's really interesting construction the way you start out. And you're like, I'm not sure if I'm doing, it's one of those, I'm not quite sure if I'm doing it right, but you kind of go with the pattern, and it turns out perfectly. But it's really nice. It's going to be a fairly large, kind of almost boxy sweater, which is really very nice. But it has the little, has ridges on the tops of the shoulders, so you see like a seam on both. And then it has these really beautiful, these are slip stitch, a little slip stitch accent, and that goes down both sides of the front and both sides of the back as well. So I'm actually pretty far. I've connected after the armholes. So these are the armholes waiting to have arms put in, and I'm working my way down. There'll be a collar that I'll do later on this as well. But it comes down to a little below your waist, and it has a couple of pockets on it as well. And I just think the shape and the color and the weight of this sweater are going to be lovely. It'll be great to throw on in the fall, just over a turtleneck, or a collared shirt, something like that. I'm really looking forward to this. And now it's easy knitting because I'm not doing construction so much anymore. I'm just knitting and knitting and knitting. You do have to be aware of where you are when you come to the accent pieces. I have had to think back a couple of times because I'm not quite sure which row I'm on, but I try to keep track of correct track of that. But other than doing that, it's just round and round, right round. I'm very excited about this. It really goes quickly now that we're doing this. So I'm looking forward to having this pattern done. The other project that I'm working on is my Brain Swatch project, and that is called the Pincha Shawl, and that is it was a Nitty.com pattern, but I'll link it here. I think I don't have the designer's name, but I'll put it here when I put this together. But this is this crazy gorgeous shawl that has all these feathers in it. So this is just going to be crazy fantastic. Look at that. I love it. It's really going to be a really cool accent piece. Again, just around a turtleneck, underneath a coat. The color, this is, I'm doing this out of my hand spun singles. So, and it's a Countess Ablaze fiber that I was gifted at Christmas by my lovely daughter and husband. And it's just so cool. The colors, they're this bright. They actually are this bright. And it's really fantastic. There's tons of short rows in this, so you're doing short rows back and forth, and that's really how they, how the feathers are created. You can do as many feathers as you want or as few feathers as you want, depending. You can do this in any weight of yarn. I just happen to be doing it in the singles yarn, which is probably somewhere fingering weight, basically. So I think I probably will do I think I probably will do 24 feathers. I'm on 22 now, so I would only have two, maybe I'll do 3, 24, 25 feathers on it, because it's already, it's already long enough to go around. I'm not going to have enough yarn to go around twice, but to make it just a little bit longer than going around once I think will be perfect. I've seen some worsted ones that are just in 12 feathers, which are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So this is just a really cool pattern. It's called the Pincha Shawl. It's actually from Knitty a year ago. I had never seen it. And then Meadow of the Woven Road podcast, she's doing a knit-along for it. And I saw hers, and oh my gosh, it was so cool. And it really is cool. And it's just, and it's another one you could use gradient yarn the way this kind of is, because it's singles and spun. It just makes them really beautiful, beautiful. There's a lot of choices that you would have. You could even make this, you could do different colors, have each feather be a different color. That would be super, super easy to do with this. So there's so many variations that you could do. I'm really enjoying it. This is not bus knitting, again, because you're going back and forth, and you do need to know where you are and what row you are on in the pattern. So I have a row counter. I really have to pay attention to this, because as you remember from the last episode, when I started this, I was not paying attention, thinking I know this, I got this, and I really didn't. So I had to rip out the very first piece that I did, and then spent my time. So that was my brain swatch project. But I'm really enjoying this. I love it. I just think it's so cool. And it's just so unusual. That's the other thing too. It's not just, it's not just a triangular shawl. It's not just a wrap. It's something super, 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 super unusual. And I'm sure that every time I wear it, someone will say, wow, where did you get that? Or you made that? That's crazy great. So I think I'm really enjoying it. I really highly recommend the pattern. So that's the Pincha Shawl. And then I finished off the incantation socks. I needed another commuter project. So I was gifted by a lovely friend the Layla sock pattern by Mina Phillips, Knitting Expat, and I started them. And I'll talk about this yarn a little bit later. But here's the first sock of the first pair, and here's this beautiful lace patterning here. This lace patterning stays the same. It goes up probably about 3/4 of the way up the leg, and then there's a different lace pattern that you do, and then you do the cuff. The pattern is written for cuff down, but again, as you know, I prefer to do my socks toe up, so I just switched everything backwards. This was interesting. Again, I don't swatch for socks, but I had to restart this one because I think I cast on. She has a couple of sizes listed in, but I think I started out with 62 stitches, because that's normally what I use. However, with this lace pattern, or with any lace pattern, it gets a little stretchy. So when I kind of put that on my toe, I realized that it would, if I kept on going at that stitch count, it would be just be a little too big, and they'd be a little bit too sloppy. So I went down to the next size down. So I think I'm doing 56 or 57 stitches. And because the patterning is so stretchy, that works out perfect for me. So again, it's just knitting. So kind of sometimes you need to play with it. Even with socks, just kind of play with either your needle size or the number of stitches that you're doing, so you get the sock that fits the way you like to have it fit if you're doing it for yourself, which is, I'm the only one that I ever knit socks for. So I'm really excited about this. I'm almost at the heel. I will be doing the Fish Lips Kiss heel on this, because I know that fits me very, 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 very well. But otherwise, I'll do the patterning around the leg exactly as she wrote it, just backwards, just upside down. So I'm really super, super excited about these. The yarn is wonderfully soft, and I just love having another project that I can just pull out and work on the bus. Okay, so I think that's all I'm working on. I do still have my Bruntsfield vest, but I haven't done anything. On that in a couple of weeks. I will get back to that, but I have a lot of time. Keep reminding me that I need to have that done for I'm back. But I have plenty of time, so I'll continue to work on that. But there hasn't been any progress really to date on that. Oh, and I have done some spinning. It was really I've done more spinning on. I think you might be able to see it. I'm not sure if you can or not, but I've done more spinning on the fiber that I got from Foster Sheep Farm. And it's, I got a little nudge there because I saw Carol this past weekend, and she's like, how's that spinning going on that fiber you got from me last year? I'm like, it's going. But it actually gave me a nice little push, and I got back to it. My in-laws have been in Florida for the last 6 weeks, so we've actually been spending a lot of time at their house. Shh, don't tell them, but we've been over there. You can use the washer and dryer. We can just spread out more. My husband's office is there, so we've kind of been spending the weekends there, and just he can just pop up and get some work done before other stuff. So I actually haven't been here that much, except at night when I would do any spinning, and I've just been kind of caught up in doing the knitting. So what I've been trying to do, and it worked out very successfully for me this week, I've been trying to, I have maybe 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes that I could do knitting or spinning early in the morning, because I have to leave very early. But I do have a little bit of time while I'm having my coffee. So I thought this week that I would try to get out my spinning wheel and just do a couple of minutes. And I'm amazed at how much spinning you can actually get done, in 15 minutes. It's nothing fancy about this. I'm just spinning right now, and it's light, beautiful light brown fawnish color. So I'm not doing anything with the color. I'm just kind of letting it go. So I'm really pleased. I'm probably halfway through I'm probably through 4 ounces already. I have 8 ounces of it to spin. I've already spun the first 8 ounces, and I will apply those together, and that will be the basis for my hap shawl. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do the half hap by Gundren Johnson. So I'm really looking forward to that. So it's a traditional hap pattern, but half. It's not the square. It's not the full square. It'll be a half. And then I'm also spinning yarn to use as the accent colors. I forget how many there are, but I have 1, 2, at least 3 or 4 different accent colors that I can use for it. So I'm excited. Again, a long-term project, but I'm hoping to get that to get a hap knit this year, and it will be out of hand spun, which will be very, very special. I'm looking forward to that. And then I've also I picked up at Christmas time, just as a gift for myself, from a local dyer here in Marblehead in the area, some beautiful fiber, and this is how it is. This is how it's turning. This is how it's turning out. So this is the fiber here, or the singles right now. So this is really super soft, squishy. It's a whole mixture of different things. And I thought I would show you what the fiber looks like just straight out of the braid. So this is how it looks straight out of the braid. She did dye it as a gradient. So that's really what I'm doing. That's really how I am spinning this this fiber. So I basically just opened up the braid, and I just started at the beginning, and I'm just pulling off chunks of it and spinning those chunks. So the final product should be a gradient. So it should go from the darker color where it started, it'll go lighter, and then it will just follow all these different color changes as it goes. We'll get kind of dark here at the end with a little pop of color. So that's that. I'm going to spin it all as a single. So I'm going to take the entire braid and spin it as a single. These are my little bird's nests that I'm spinning next. So these were the next ones in line, and these basically are just pieces of the fiber, the big chunk that I pulled off, and then I just stripped it, and then I just prepped it a little bit. So just open up those fibers a little bit, and then just wind them around your hand, and they look like a little bird's nest. So that's what we call them. And so I just sit them there ready and waiting in my spinning basket to get started. What I'm planning on doing with this, I'm not going to, as I said, I'm just going to spin the whole thing. So I'm not going to apply it on its own. I'm not going to apply it together. So spin 2 bobbins and then apply them together, because I really love the color of this. So what I'm thinking I will do with this, I'm going to do some it will turn into a barber pole yarn. So basically what I'm going to do is probably use some palette. I'm not sure what color. Maybe I'll use a white, maybe I'll use a black. I have a lot of black left. Maybe I'll do that too. And I will ply this with the commercial yarn. So that basically, you get a lot of bang for your buck out of the fiber that you've spun, because I'm going to spin the whole 4 ounces will be all in one single rather than cut in half and plied together. And then I'll use the commercial yarn, which will give it a lot of strength, and you just ply it together and it will turn out great. And so maybe I'll make a shawl or something like that. I should have enough of this yarn to do that. But that's my plan with this, because it's just such a cool color, and it's nice to have some really colorful fiber to spin from, as at the same time that you're spinning some plain colored fiber. It's just a nice little change up now and again. But I'm very pleased. So I've been getting some spinning done. I'm going to try to keep on doing that, because it really is. It's a great time to do it. I'm not really doing anything else. Pop on the news and do a little spinning and have a little coffee, and it seems to work out. It seems to work out great. All right, so let's go on to a knit along. We have been having a sock challenge knit along over in the Ravelry group. And the reason is because I do socks all the time, but I thought I would challenge myself and want to do a pattern that maybe I had never tried before, something interesting. And I did try. I started a pattern, which I will eventually get back to, but it was just really kicking me to the curb. So I ended up doing a different pattern, but it was great because I had lots of support. And I encouraged folks, if they wanted to come along and knit socks with us, that we would knit socks that were some type of a challenge. It could have been a first pair of socks, could have been a lace knitting sock, could have been, toe up if you've never done toe up, any kind. And everybody did some gorgeous socks. I was really excited to see there was lots of chatter in the thread, and it was a great incentive for me to actually finish my socks, which I am fabulously happy with. I'm so glad I ended up doing a pattern that I had done many, many years ago. I actually lost the socks that I had knit the socks I had knit originally, so I was really pleased to go back and really found that I really enjoy doing lace sock knitting. Again, I had kind of gotten away from that, but this is an overall lace pattern all the way up the foot and around the leg, and it was just very, very enjoyable. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it, so I was very happy with that. And as you recall, Claire of the Woolly Thistle, she has this is importing for us here in America British yarns, which is fabulous because it just makes it so much easier to get hold of them, and it's great because she's right in New Hampshire and the shipping is so quick. And anyway, I have this beautiful skein of West Yorkshire Spinners self-patterning sock yarn. So this is exactly the same yarn that I used on the incantation socks that I had done in that lovely blue and yellow color. And there is a lot of yarn in this. I probably have half of this skein left after doing a pair of socks for myself. So I will definitely either be able to do another pair of scrappy, maybe short socks, or incorporate it into some type of a shawl at some point in time. But there's a lot of sock yarn, so this is really great. I really like it. And the self-patterning part is just so much fun. It's just so much fun. And again, it's from West Yorkshire Spinners, and this is a British yarn. And I did a random number generator off screen, Mary Beth. We had some fun with that at the Knit Local Getaway. And the random, there were 17 final entries in the finished object thread, and I just locked it today because I've been so slow. But the random number generator chose M's Little Nest. So that's Emma, and Emma is from New Zealand. So that is fantastic. Congratulations, Emma. And she actually let's see if it'll come up here. She did a pair of scrappy socks. And this was the first time that she had done scrappy socks, and she said, this pair of socks was indeed a challenge. They are my first pair of scrappy socks. I had to work out how many colors, how many rows for each color that would look pleasing, and finally sew in all those ends, which was a challenge in itself, but I love the way they turned out, and I do too. I think I've never made a pair of scrappy socks, and I probably should. I have enough scraps kind of hanging around, and I'm not really interested into doing those scrappy sock blankets or the crochet blankets, but I could do scrappy socks, so maybe I will do that. So thank you, Emma, for participating. And if you PM me your mailing address, I will have this winging off to New Zealand as soon as possible. So that is our knit along. And thanks, everybody. I really enjoyed it. I appreciated everybody knitting along with me. The Knit Local Getaway. The reason I've been it's taken me so long to do another podcast is because I just got, I was just traveling. So last weekend I went back out to Saratoga, and every year the Washington County has a Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour, and here it is. Put this right here. I have a little brochure, Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour. I think someone had said that Washington County in New York State is the largest fiber producing county. Well, it's the biggest fiber producing county, or it's the county in the state that produces the most fiber. So they have, in addition to dairy farms, they have sheep, alpaca, and some llama farms in Washington County. And 2 days a year, for one weekend, the last weekend of April, each year they open up a number of those farms, and the public can come and see. And they usually have little stores or stalls where you can purchase either some fiber or some yarn or some products that the farmers that the farmers make. And it's just such a wonderful weekend. My sister-in-law Tracy and I have been going. I don't know. Probably this is maybe our 5th year, maybe our 6th year. And we used to just take the day when I lived in Saratoga, and we would just drive around and drive to the different farms and just really enjoy ourselves and have a lovely day. Well, 2 years ago, Sarah Pomegranate from Sarah Bauer from the Yarns at Yinhu podcast, she decided to come up. She was meeting her friend Fernanda, and they were staying at St. Mary's Retreat House in Greenwich, New York. And she had messaged us and said, "Hey, we're going to come up. Would you guys be interested in meeting up for dinner?" And Tracy and I said, "Of course we would. We would love to do that." So we spent the day doing our thing, and then we met up for dinner in Schuylerville that night, and we just had a wonderful time. And Sarah kind of had the idea that if we had a wonderful time, maybe some other people would enjoy it as well. So what she did last year was she organized a knit a kind of a getaway for this weekend, and we all gathered. There were probably I think 20, 25 of us last year, and we gathered, and she had got us a building, it's a separate building at the retreat house, so we were able to have our own our own area. Very lovely, rustic, but we had a lovely big living area, so we could a gathering area where we could get together. We had tons of food. People just brought food. We had chili for the first night. It was just a really fantastic experience, and we got to meet all new people last year that we hadn't met before. It was really fantastic. And so this year she did the same thing, and it was so much fun to go back again to do something. So this was the second annual Knit Local Getaway, and again, probably someplace between 20 and 25 people. And there were lots of people that had come last year, but there were some who couldn't. So she was able to open it up to some new people as well, and that's always a lot of fun. So again, we made new friends. This year, and we basically gathered together on Friday night. Everyone met at the retreat house, and we got together on Friday night, and we had a series of, I think we had 3 different soups, and we had breads, and we had all kinds of desserts, and we had wine, and it was just so wonderful. And everyone, was renewing friendships or making new ones. We had all of our knitting out. It was just so lovely. It's just such a relaxing thing to do. And I know I say this a lot, but if you ever have a chance to go on any kind of a knitting weekend or a knitting retreat, large or small, if you can, go ahead and do it. It's very, very different. People go to Rhinebeck or they go to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and it's very, very different than that, because you really have a chance to kind of form a community and form a bond. It's just a real opportunity to meet up with some new people who love exactly the same thing that you do, and you just kind of get different perspectives on things, and everyone, and then everyone on Saturday kind of talk about what farms you're going to go to, and those of us that had done it before maybe have some favorites or have a different idea of kind of what we were going to see at different times during the day. And so everyone kind of split up, and then we all went out and kind of did our own thing during the day. And Tracy and I and Fernanda and Candy from the Pause for Stitches podcast, we all traveled together that day, and we went up to St. Mary's on the hill, and we saw the cashmere goats, which were phenomenal. We went to several different, mostly we did sheep farms actually this year. Sometimes we've done a lot of the alpacas, but this year we kind of just ended up going to the sheep farms, which is fine as well. We stopped off at Carol Foster Sheep Farm. Carol's farm is not technically on the tour, but it is one of our favorite stops to go to, because she takes us back into the barn and lets us get up close and personal with the sheep and the new lambs that have been born. Plus, she has a fabulous yarn shop as well. So that was really wonderful. And on Saturday night, Sarah's sister Jess does a lot of. She goes up in Vermont. She does homesteading, and she does a lot of dyeing and making her own clothes. So she had us do indigo dyeing, which was so much fun. You'll see pictures. I have pictures and some videos at the end. But she gave us each a small linen bag, and she set up a big dye pot full of indigo, and we were able to, we could just dye our bags if we wanted to, or we could, put rubber bands on them, so kind of make it like a little bit of a tie-dye thing. And it was just the coolest, really, really interesting to do. The dye pot the water was so hot. We all had, of course, had plastic gloves on, but it was so hot, and you had to hold your bag in there for, I forget what it was, but it was 20 seconds, and you're like, oh, this is so hot. But then you take it out, and the really interesting thing about indigo, which maybe I had heard about it, but I had never seen it. But when you take something that's being dyed with indigo out of the pot, it's green. It's like a light green color. And then as it has contact with the oxygen in the air, that's when the beautiful deep blue comes out. And it was like magic. It was just totally magic. You're standing there and you're kind of holding it in the wind, and then all of a sudden this deep, deep blue color starts coming out. It was really fantastic. I think probably with what I'll do with mine, actually I have it still in a bag. I think I'm actually not going to really use it as a knitting bag. I think I need to iron it. It's all crinkled up from use from the dyeing. But I think I'm probably just going to kind of pin it on my wall at work, so I have a reminder of the fantastic weekend that we had last week. We got ice cream at the Ice Cream Man. That's a big stop for us on our tour, a very important stop on our tour. But at the same time, we happened to drive by when we were driving to the Ice Cream Man. We noticed that there was a Thai food truck parked just a little way down the road, and we're like, wow, we could do takeout. We could get Thai food and take that back rather than going out to dinner. The thing which we had done last year. And then we were like, we don't know. I wonder if it's any good. So we ended up asking the kids that worked at the Ice Cream Man when it got our ice cream, and they said, yes, it's fantastic. So we're like, let's go back. So we got our way back there, and we stopped and ordered our food. And as we were there, it was probably like 3:30 in the afternoon. And as we were there ordering our food, all of these cars started coming in. So it was just people like getting off of work or whatever and stopping to get some food. But it seemed like wildly popular. And I'm glad we got there when we did. And then we had the food that night. It was really delicious. It was great. It was so much fun. It was just a really fun find. And now Tracy's like, I'm going to grab my brother Ed. We're going to drive over there one day and see if that truck is still there and get some takeout food from Greenwich. But so that was really that was quite a lot of fun. And then Sunday we cleaned up and we said our goodbyes to everyone. A lot of the group went back up to Dancing Ewe Farm, which is the very northern tip of Washington County, and they had a beautiful lunch there. Tracy and I had done that last year. Well, we just didn't do that this year. She had some obligations, and I was going to be visiting my parents, so we ended up not doing that. And when we left, we actually went up to one of the alpaca farms, which we hadn't been to before, so that we hadn't been to yet this year. So that was just a nice little thing to have at the end. the end of our trip, and then she and I got lunch together, which was wonderful. We got to catch up, and then I spent overnight with my parents, so I got to see them. So that was a lot of fun. As well. So let me show you just briefly some of the things that I got. Oh, and here's the other thing that we did. Sarah she didn't have a giveaway last year, but she had a kind of a donation box where we could donate money that she was going to gift to the Washington County 4-H group, because the 4-H kids do a lot of work on all the farms in Washington County. So that was a really nice thing to do. Well, this year someone suggested that we do kind of a gift basket, and we could all donate, and we get get tickets, and someone would win the gift basket. And so everybody was encouraged to kind of bring something new. It didn't have to be yarny. It could have been anything, but something to kind of go into a basket that would be a nice gift basket for someone to take home. So we did that, and we actually had so many things that people brought that we ended up splitting up. We had too much for one big basket, so we split it into three, and so everyone, then everyone had tickets, had more of a chance to win. It was really fun. And Mary Beth, who was kind of organizing it for Sarah, got to do. She used the random number generator. It was so much fun. It was so cute. And we just had 3 different packs. They were gorgeous. There was a handmade quilt. There was an indigo dyed apron. There was hand spun. There was just gorgeous yarns, books, and CDs, and it was crazy, the amount of stuff that there was. So yours truly was chosen, and I won one of the big gifts. So I was so excited. I was so excited about that. You just got to enter. No, it was so much fun. So I was really excited about that. Oh, and I'll show you what I didn't buy too much stuff, but I have some mixture of things here. So let's see. This is kind of fun. I'll show this first. This is one of the yarns that I won in the basket. It's Classic Elite Inca print, and it is 100% alpaca. So this is really gorgeous. I have 4 skeins of this. So this can be a shawl. It's really super soft, squishy, beautiful. It's a yarn I've never used before. So I love all these crazy colors. So what I'm going to make with this is I'm not even going to say it right, but Batad pattern by Stephen West, which is this pattern right there. As Stephen so gloriously is wearing it there. And the reason I'm going to make this is because I love it. I've been really drawn to kind of those, it's not a poncho, but it's kind of like a half poncho. So it's something you can wear around your neck, but also it's attached so that you can kind of pull it down over your shoulders as well. I really think those are really interesting, very useful, kind of useful thing for your wardrobe. And this is the pattern that Sarah was wearing when Tracy and I kind of accosted her at Ravelry so many years ago. And we kept looking at this woman during the podcaster meetup, and we kept looking at her. We're like, we really like what she's wearing. Should we go ask her? Should we do that? That's kind of like, should we ask her what she's wearing? So we finally went up, and Tracy asked her what pattern she was wearing. And it was this pattern here. And I remember her saying, oh, would you like, I think she had just started the podcast back then. She's like, oh, I do a podcast. Would you like I don't know, she gave buttons or something at the time. And I was like looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, you're the woman that lives in that tea house. I'm like, oh my God, how embarrassing. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not fangirling or anything. But it was just it was a cute moment. And I mean, we really like this pattern. I've liked this pattern ever since. And it's just one of those, you're like, well, I could make that sometime, and it kind of went off my radar. But when I get this yarn that I didn't choose, I didn't buy it. I've been gifted, won it, and it's got these fabulous colors in it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to look up that pattern. So that's what I'm going to make with this. And Jacqueline, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use this for the main color. So this crazy yellow color that he's got here. And then it has like these welt things, like separating them. I don't have the pattern yet, so I'm not sure how those are made. But I'm going to use some black palette, I think, in between as the accent color. on this. But I'm so excited about this. So this is going to be one of those things where I'll do it, and then my goal will be to bring it to the next Knit Local Getaway next year. So I'm really happy with this. And again, thank you, Sarah, for introducing us to this pattern, because I think it's really cool, and I'm really looking forward to that as well. What else did I get? Oh, we went to Battenkill Fiber Mill. We didn't do the tour. We've done the tour a couple of times, but it's a working mill, so it's really great if you ever have the chance to do it. You can do a whole tour, and they take you from the very beginning of the wool from the sheep, and then right into the final yarn product. She has some really glorious local Shetland that was available. So I just got one skein of it. It looks, I'm not sure, it looks kind of gray, but it's really a brown fawn color. It's very lovely. It's beautiful. It's just a special kind of a souvenir yarn from this, and I'll use this as an accent in something. I'm not sure what, but this was really beautiful. I like this a lot. And then she had done, or Battenkill had done a run for, they were producing some yarn for Quince & Co. And this was a test batch that they had done, and it was it's a 2-ply yarn. And I think Quince & Co. wanted a 3-ply yarn once they saw what the 2-ply was like. So this isn't Quince & Co., but it was spun for Quince & Co. And so this is the base that they use. And so she had some of these around as well. This is not neon at all. It's much more muted. It's kind of like an olivey color. This I'm going to use. I'll probably make a hat out of this one, and maybe some mitts if I have enough left. But that's what this will be for. I'm pretty excited about that. This is just, I'm just going to show this because this is beautiful yarn. It is from BZB Fibers, and it is so beautiful. It is called Tokyo Nightclub, and it is merino and tencel. There's 430 yards of it. This is beautiful. Look at those colors. This came in my prize basket. Isn't that gorgeous? This will have to be a lovely shawl of some sort. It is just really just gorgeous. I'm so happy with that. We also at the Knit Local Getaway, we also do a swap table, which is really great. So you can bring yarn that has been in your stash that you're not going to use, yarn scraps, magazines, books, anything you want, that's related to yarn or fiber, and put it on the table, on the swap table, and people will take it. And if there's leftovers at the end, we usually give it to a school or give it to maybe a senior service senior center you could use it for crafts. But this year I picked up some beautiful things on there. I picked up the yarn that I'm doing the Layla socks with. That might have been an O-loops yarn, because there were some other O-loops there, and that kind of looks and feels like O-loops, but it didn't have a tag with it, so I'm not particularly sure about that it's O-loops. So that's pretty exciting. I also picked up Apteno knits. This is. I just picked this up for the colors. Look at these crazy colors. This is going to be just gorgeous. It's so soft. This will probably be a pair of socks. Just it's on the table, so it was up for grabs. And this is Shara made. So this is from Shara Made. She does a podcast. She's from Australia. This is beautiful as well. It's Australian merino and alpaca and Australia alpaca, and it's hand dyed using eucalyptus leaves and Australian indigo. And it is a sport weight yarn. Isn't that beautiful? Again, just it will be a lovely accent I can use it along with something else in a shawl, but it's just beautiful and soft, and I couldn't turn it away. It was just waiting on the swap table for me. So I'm very pleased with that. The last thing I bought when we went to Carol's Foster Sheep Farm, Carol was great. So everybody is in the process of knitting up the Boosta Beanie hat by Gundren Johnson. It is the project for I guess it's this year, for the Shetland Wool Week, and that pattern is a free pattern. You can get if you Google Shetland Wool Week, you can download the pattern for free. They have a Wool Week patron every year, and this year Gundren Johnson is, and she did a design for this really crazy cute colorwork hat. And so what Carol did this year is she put together some some color choices for the hat specifically. So it's a kit to do that pattern. And these are the 3 colors, and this is all her yarn, so this is all from her sheep, and she dyes them. So these are the 3 colors that I chose. So this will be the main color, and then these 2 will be the accent colors for the hat. And this is, these colors are so much in my wheelhouse. And she had so many different ones, so really you could choose, Tracy chose some beautiful, beautiful colors that would not be right for me, but they were perfect, perfect for her, and anyone who knows her would say those are your colors. But these are great. I love these deep, the red. That's going to be beautiful, beautiful for winter. So I look forward to casting that on at some point. But this is going to be for the Busta beanie hat, and it's from Foster Sheep Farm, which again I consider my local farms. So yeah, so I think that's. Just make sure. Yeah, I think that was it. So again, I just want to really encourage you, if you have a chance at some point to go to a local getaway, or go to a knitting weekend, or put together one yourself, just get some of your knitting friends and go off and spend a weekend at a hotel and just do knitting and talking and really just bonding over all of the fiber arts. It was just a wonderful weekend. I want to thank everyone who was there, and thanks for being so nice to us. And it's just wonderful, and I look forward to it every weekend. So now let's move on to some stuff about Ravelry. Hey, so next I just kind of do a little bit of catch up, and I thought I'd point out a couple of things about Ravelry. Just some little tips of things. We go on Ravelry, and I go on and I look at the patterns. I go on and I look at my forums. Post some things up, do some work in my, putting my projects up, and doing things like that. But there's some other really cute, really interesting little tips, and just some really interesting things on Ravelry that I have found and have heard about in different places, and I just really love to, it's one of those things where all of a sudden you're like, I'm gonna go take a look at this. The first one, and maybe you've heard about these, but I just think they're really cool. And when I remember them, I'm like, I'm gonna go back and do that again. If you look at the forum, if you go to the forums tab in Ravelry, so you go to your forums that you have. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can do that. So I can make this a little, see if you can see that. So here's my list of forums that I go to. You can see right here, there's a little button that says radar. Like, what is that? And if you hit radar, what will happen, it's called You Eavesdropper You. And so basically, it pulls up, and just in live, it just starts showing you all of different posts that are being posted onto Ravelry as they're posted in any forum. So not just the ones that you have, but they're all over. Just anybody who's posting a post, as soon as it's posted, if you're watching Radar, you will see it. So there are, thousands of people on Ravelry putting posts up. And they just keep scrolling through. You can pause them. There's a pause button, so you can pause if you see something. I'd like to go back and look at that. Or it just gives you kind of a sense of what other people are talking about, maybe that you would have no clue about, no idea about on Ravelry. Some of them are in different languages, because there are lots of languages on Ravelry, just about different topics, and it's just really a fun thing. If you have 20 minutes or something, you're just kind of sitting there with a cup of coffee, it's really fun to just kind of let it scroll and just see all the different things that are happening there. So that's one. And the other one, I always forget how to do this one, but the other one, I think I just heard about this recently, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to look at this. The other one is through the People tab. So up at the top on Ravelry. So if you hit the People tab, hit it hard enough here. Okay. So here's the People. It just has People search, your friends activity, random assortments of favorites, show us your FOs, so show us your FOs, and then it also has information about your neighbors. And I usually have paid attention to that. It shows a list of all the new people on the left side, people that have just joined Ravelry. They get called new kids, so they're up there. But if you go to the show us your FOs, which is this part here. So these are all the finished objects that have been posted. You can see more FOs, you can search those, or you can hit the button with a little TV on it. It says watch FOs live. And it takes a minute, so this is what comes up. And it takes a minute, and basically what it's doing is loading on anybody that posted a finished object just now with the picture will start to scroll across here. So as soon as the finished object is up, it will scroll across here. So again, it's just really a fun little trick if you're just sitting around doing, got some time that you want to look at Ravelry. And you can then, you can go to their project, whatever, you can really see some cool things. So I think I'd heard this on another podcast, but just remember, when you mark your project as a finished object, make sure that the finished object picture is at the front of the photos that you have in your project, because that's the photo that's going to run across here. So it's nice to actually have the finished object and not picture of the yarn that you used. But it's really just a fun little trick that you see. So useful or not, it amuses me. So I thought I would share that with you. We have been enjoying Netflix again, and not that we haven't before, but it seems like all of a sudden there have been some new shows that have been popping up there. This weekend while I was home, I got my parents set up with Netflix. They didn't have it before. I don't think we'll ever see my mother again. She's like dived deep into the Netflix into the Netflix world. I left her with my headphones. I just think she's not even coming up for water for a while yet. But the miniseries Shetland is now on Netflix. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for that to come to Netflix. So it is filmed on the Shetland Islands, and it is, it's filmed in Shetland, it's based in Shetland, and then they go off to different islands right around there. And, it's a murder mystery. It's got a detective inspector and his group of a small little police force on the island, and they solve murders. It's very good. I mean, obviously, the part that's glorious about it is the setting. The scenery is just gorgeous. And you can play, look for Kate Davies patterns there, because Tracy was telling me, my sister-in-law Tracy told me that when they were filming Shetland originally, they hired Kate Davies to provide the hats and sweaters. So there's like Kate Davies sweater patterns all over the place. So you can just my poor husband is like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, look at that sweater. That's gorgeous. I want that sweater. Or I know that pattern. Wait, I've seen that pattern before. But yeah, it's really fun. And we have had, and I know people forget about this because I think somebody, Kathy, on I know you said you forgot about this on Instagram, but on Netflix, my poor husband, we watched the first one, and he's like, I have no idea what's going on. I can't understand a word that you're saying. So we put up the closed captioning in English. It's great. He's like, oh, now I see. Oh, I understand what's happening now. But it makes life a lot easier if you can't quite understand the accent. We're also watching the fourth season of Bosch. I know Bosch isn't for everyone. He's an LA detective. I'm actually finding this series, this one to be a little bit slow. The other ones seem to be more exciting, but my husband likes it. It's fine. It's great. It's interesting. The Last Kingdom, the series 2, is also up on Netflix now. So ladies, if your husband wants to watch something about Vikings and swords and everything, this is the show, but it's got some great stuff for us as well. But no, it's actually really good. We really enjoyed it. So if you like the Viking series on the History Channel, this is more of a, well, I guess the Vikings on the History Channel was kind of a mini series as well, but this is too just a different time, a little bit different time period. But yeah, it's really great, really interesting, lots of action, and we're looking forward to watching this second season. And then House of Cards is back at the end of May. Again, House of Cards is not for everyone, but we think it's one of the best shows that's ever been produced on TV. I love it. Love it. We love Kevin Spacey. Oh my gosh. He's so fantastic in this show. It can be creepy. It can be really, scuzzy and just like, bad things, politics, bad. But, in many respects, I'm sure it's not quite as bad as House of Cards, but in many respects, I'm sure there's a little bit of reality in this show, in Washington, in any country's politics. This is not the things that are going on in this particular show could happen anywhere, but we're really excited. I'm very excited about that. And I had one more. I'm just going to get it for a second. Because I wanted to tell you about a book that actually my sister-in-law again. We spent all this time together this weekend, so we got to talk and catch up. But she had found a book called, and it's really cute. I don't know if you can see. It's called How to Hang a Witch. And it's not cute, but it's a young adult book. I don't really read a lot of young adult books, but it was really it's really cute. It's really interesting. Cute, guys. That's not the right word. It is based in Salem, Massachusetts, and it's about a girl who moves to Salem, and she gets involved in. Her name is Mather, so she's descended from Cotton Mather, who was one of the instigators of the Salem witch trials, and then all the other descendants of the witches are still in Salem and in her high school, conveniently. But anyway, it's a really cute. Yeah, it's not cute. It's not cute. It's just a really fun read. It's quick, interesting, and there's a mystery in it. And because I live here, I know where Salem High School is. I know downtown Salem. So I know all the settings for this book. So that's kind of fun too. But it's caught my attention. It's been it's kept me reading. Sometimes the young adult books are not, they're for young adults and not really meant for adults. But this one is fun, and it may just be fun because of where it's located. But I just thought I would pass it on if you get a chance or see it somewhere, or looking for a book to pick up. So again, it's called How to Hang a Witch, and it's by Adriana Mather, who is actually descended from Cotton Mather. So that was kind of cool. Sophia is getting closer to coming home. I cannot believe that. She purchased her plane ticket to come home, so she'll be home at the end of July and to move on to looking for work here in Boston. And she, what has she been doing? They've had a little bit of a school break. I think, what was it called? I'm not going to remember now. The Golden Week. It was a big, this past week I think was a big holiday week in Japan. So she's done a couple of things. I think she went to a pottery festival. She got to go to a soccer game. She went and visited her friend in Fukuoka. So she's done some things like that. I think she's starting to think more about coming home and the reality of that, what that's going to mean, and all the different steps that she has to take to actually have it all come together and look for a job, etc. So that's really pretty exciting for her too. I will miss having the pictures of Japan, but she'll go back at some point. Maybe I will too someday. So I have some pictures of that at the end. Stay tuned. Next episode, I have a very lovely friend of the podcast who has offered something to use as something for a giveaway. So I have some thoughts about that. Some things I'm going to talk about next time that I will offer up a prize for. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the afternoon, even though it is a little bit rainy. But I'm going to go say hi to my in-laws because I haven't seen them in about a month. So that will be nice. We're actually going out to dinner tonight with my brother-in-law and his wife and another friend of ours. So that will be quite delightful as well. And then probably tomorrow I'll be helping my husband do some more drone filming. It's my life now. At least I can do some knitting while he's doing that. So that's always good. Well, thank you for spending time with me today. I really appreciate it. I enjoy talking with you. And remember, it's just knitting. Bye.